Hi everyone, this is David Maynard, and I will be your instructor for English 106 over the next 6 weeks. I'm recording this audio clip just to kind of touch base with you on a sensory level that is, not just print, and kind of give you a break from reading. Because if you had a chance to look over the materials posted to Blackboard, there's a lot to read to get started with this class. And what I'm going to do is just kind of go over some of the highlights of this week's assignments as they're covered in the week one announcement. So first off, welcome to the class. I'm really looking forward to working with all of you over the next several weeks. This is a class that is challenging in many respects, just in general, as a 15-week course. But it's even more challenging, in its accelerated form as a 6-week class. You're basically doing pretty much the same amount of work as a 15-week class, but in about a third of the time. However, with that being said, this class I think is very manageable. It is set up to help you succeed, and I think from the get-go, the main things to keep in mind are, you really just want to pay attention to the details of the assignments and the materials and overviews I provide for all of them every week. And that's really the first step towards succeeding in the class is, understanding exactly what you're being asked to do. But also, just as important, being willing to ask questions. I'm more than happy to answer any questions you need me to answer to help you succeed in this class this semester. And the only thing I ask from you is try your best to review all the materials I give you before you ask the questions, because I think more often than not, your questions will get answered in the materials I've provided. But if you still have questions that are outstanding, definitely just email me and try to email me as far in advance of the deadline of whatever assignment you're asking about as you can. But that being said, I'm always happy to, answer any questions that you might have about the material. Now, as far as communication between you and me, basically at the beginning of every week, on Monday, I will send out an announcement that's posted to Blackboard as well as emailed out to you. And that's going to cover the assignments that are due for that week. And I'll give you kind of an overview of what we're going to be focusing on and then give you a list of the assignments that are due. And that list of assignment deadlines is taken from the course schedule, which is also available on Blackboard. And as far as like office hours go, since this is an online class, and actually I live in Columbus, Ohio, so I live about 2 hours from campus. I'm not going to be on campus all the time during the next 6 weeks. On Wednesday, June 28th, I will be physically on campus from 2 to 4 p.m. so we can have traditional office hours during that time. You can physically stop in and chat with me. But normally I will be having digital office hours through Blackboard Collaborate Ultra, which is available on our Blackboard page through the Blackboard Collaborate Ultra tab on the left menu. And those will be held Wednesdays 2 to 4 p.m. Those hours are set aside for you to kind of come into the chat room, ask me any basic questions you have about the assignments. I would point out that anything that's related to your grade, you obviously will not be able to talk about during those office hours because it's a public forum. But if you have any questions about grade related concerns or anything that's personal to you, just email me about that. And we'll leave the digital office hours for more general questions about assignments, how to approach assignments, that kind of thing. Now for this week's assignments. So this week you have several readings from the Research Writer and the Euler Handbook, and we'll have readings from those pretty much every week this semester. And those readings are designed to help introduce you to what we're doing for Essay 1. And for Essay 1, in a nutshell, you're going to be locating either a film or 2 to 3 episodes of a TV show, and then you're going to be analyzing those texts, or text singular in the case of a film, for how they represent gender, how they represent men and women. Do the representations that you see in the primary texts reflect or challenge traditional ways of representing gender roles in the United States? Or do they reflect or challenge gender stereotypes, in other words? And this assignment for Essay 1 is laid out, in a lot of detail in the Essay number 1 assignment sheet. So definitely check that out. And also the pre-writing worksheet for Essay 1 is the first actual deadline for that assignment. So what you need to do for that is pull up the pre-writing worksheet from the Module 1 area of Blackboard and just fill it out, save it, submit it to the correct Dropbox by the end of the day this Wednesday. And that'll be your first assignment for the Essay number 1 project. Now, other things we're doing this week. First off, you just want to review all of the materials that have been posted to Blackboard. And again, there's a lot, so make sure you give yourself enough time to go over those. One really important thing you need to do is make sure you sign the last page of the course information packet that's been posted to Blackboard for English 106, our class. You need to access that through Blackboard by the end of the day this Wednesday. And also you need to sign and have mailed out or physically dropped off the last page on that packet by this Friday. And the information for submitting that is also available in the announcements section and in the course schedule. In addition to the readings in the textbooks for this week, I've also assigned an article, a web article, that does very similar to what you're doing for Essay 1. It analyzes how gender has been represented in the media and considers if those representations reinforce stereotypes about gender or challenge stereotypes about gender. And that's Gender Roles and Occupations. And you can get to that article by clicking on the link in the schedule or the announcement. And also you have a documentary called Sexual Stereotypes in the Media that's been assigned. And that also looks at examples of how gender has been represented in the media and discusses if it challenges or reinforces gender stereotypes in the United States, which is what we're doing for Essay 1, of course. So the link to that documentary is provided in the announcement as well as in the schedule. And basically, whenever you need to do something for this class, it's going to be instructions are going to be given to you on how to access it. Or I will provide a link to it if I can in the schedule and in the announcement for that week. So hopefully everything should be easy to access for you. Now, to access that documentary, you will link to OhioLink, the Digital Resource Commons, and if you're off campus, which I'm sure most of you are since it's an online class, it should ask you to log in. And to log in, you just want to make sure you use your name and then the barcode number on the back of your Euler One card, which is your library card number. And that should get you in there. Other than that, you have your Essay 1 pre-writing. We also have a class discussion that's due this week, which you can access in the discussion board, which is located on the left side menu on our Blackboard course. Pretty straightforward. I'm giving you links to a couple YouTube videos. One is an advertisement for Abercrombie & Fitch. One is an advertisement for a Levi's commercial. They both represent men and women. They both represent gender roles in different ways. One, I think, definitely reinforces a lot of gender stereotypes. Another one, I would argue, challenges them in a lot of ways. So I'm going to leave it up to you to figure out which is which, and I give you 3 questions to respond to after watching those videos, and I also ask you to incorporate references from the documentary for this week and also the Gender Roles and Occupations article, basically practicing that synthesis of sources strategy that we also are reading about in our textbook readings for this week, and is something that you're going to be doing in Essay 1. And you'll have an initial post for that due this Thursday in the discussion board, and then I ask that you respond to 2 peers posts by this Sunday. And that's going to be the basic pattern for every week's discussion. And after your discussion, the last thing you need to do this week is send me an introductory email by noon this coming Friday, June 23rd. And the instructions for this email are provided in the Start Here area in the Week 1 folder on Blackboard. This folder basically lays out all of the stuff you need to know for this first week, all in one spot for you. And basically, I'm just asking you to send me an email, introduce yourself, outline some goals you have for this class. I find when students come into the class with a clear set of goals, it just gives them a little more focus and helps regulate expectations, that kind of thing. And it's just kind of a healthy way to approach a class. And also it gives me a sense of your personality and what you're looking to get out of this class. So again, just provide the introductory email, send it to me by noon this Friday. And I think that about covers what you need to know to successfully finish week 1. One other resource I've provided you that's really important at the beginning of the class are the MLA documentation guidelines that are posted in the week 1 area. And basically, MLA documentation requirements changed about a year ago. So the documentation examples that you have in the Euler Handbook, I'm pretty sure they do not reflect the new guidelines unless they've changed them, and I'm not aware of the change. So what we're using for this class for MLA are the documentation guidelines included in this attachment that's posted to Blackboard. And these represent the new MLA documentation requirements. These are also the requirements that the English department here at University of Findlay uses. So you just want to make sure that when you do MLA documentation, it looks like the examples in the attachment I've given you and not necessarily what you see in the Euler Handbook. And if you have any questions about that, just let me know. And again, I think that's about it. So again, welcome to the class. I'm really excited to work with all of you. If you have any questions after looking over the materials on Blackboard, please don't hesitate to send me an email. And I wish you the best of luck this semester.